Welcome to the Grappling Grappling Rewind Podcast.
Welcome to this week on the Grappling Rewind Podcast. In this week's show, we are going to preview Fight to Win. Which one is it, Emil?
134.
134. Where is it at?
Shit, man, putting me on the spot here.
Yeah, man, we've been gone for a couple weeks. We're back. Not gone. We've been doing shows, but we have been not previewing events for the last couple weeks. So we're going to do that. We're talking about news, and we have an interview with Jay Regalbuto at the end of the episode here. We kind of have a down week for events. We just are previewing one event, so figure we throw Jay in there. Jay is one of my favorite commentators in jiu-jitsu, so got a chance to have him on. He also coached Nicky Rod through his basically initial first couple years of jiu-jitsu, and we talk about that, and it was a really great interview, and I'm super excited for it. As always in the show, I'm your host, Maine, my co-host.
Emil, and that's Fight to Win 134 in Scottsdale, Arizona.
You figure we had all the time, we would have gotten that out in front. So where do you want to start in the news section?
I want to start with big announcement. Queen of Mats lineup has been announced.
Yeah,
for
AJP is running another Queen of Mats after the first one.
Yeah, so this tournament's taking place January 16th to 18th, so that's coming up.
Where is it at? Do you know?
I believe it's in Abu Dhabi. I think it's in Abu Dhabi. So it's the heavyweights. So the overall, they typically do pretty large brackets.
Yes, they do.
So these ones are 70 kilograms up to 95 for the women. So that's
a giant jump.
That's 25 kilograms. Or
UAEJJF and AJP do a weird thing as well for the weight classes for the women. Is you can't be above, I want to say I thought it was 90 kilograms, because Tanya Porfirio for years has not been able to do UAEJJF because she cannot make the weight cap for UAEJJF.
Right.
Which is really interesting that they actually have a limit on heavyweight for women.
So these the Queen of Mats lineup, we have Group A, Gabriele Pasenha, Tamara Silva, Martina Gramenius. In Group B, we have Natalie DeJesus, Samantha Cook, and Kendall Rusing.
Dude, Samantha Cook did a really cool interview with Dan Strauss on the Res Rate podcast, probably maybe 4 months ago at this point. And it was really interesting talking about her being in the UK and her competition prep and who she's faced. It was one of those BJJ high-level people talk about being high-level and how they did it. Really cool interview. Highly recommend you guys go out and listen to that. I realized in the news section, it's basically just really cool matchups that are being announced. We have started gi season. And FloGrappling has put out a ton of really cool articles, breaking down the standings for all the black belt divisions, some of the lower belt divisions as well. Super cool. I've been reading through all of them this week. I'm these are amazing.
Each one has basically they rank the top 25 competitors. So those lists are pretty damn comprehensive.
And then you look at the methodology and the thought process behind, and
they'll pick usually 1 to 3 kind of front runners. Yeah. They'll have full write-ups on them, and then they'll talk about, basically, then they'll have the people who frequently appear on the podiums at all of the majors. FloGrappling's been calling the majors the Grand Slams. So it's a little bit, you have to be careful with their nomenclature because it sounds like an entirely new event. But the majors, if you win all of them, are called a Grand Slam.
Yeah.
So
we haven't really talked about that in a while, all the the nomenclature and the terminology for you win Euros, Brasileiros, Worlds, and
Pants.
Jesus.
Yeah, so
you get the Grand Slam,
right? So then they'll also
for the IBJJF.
Yeah, for IBJJF. So they'll also in these previews, they're also talking about dark horses and new people, and then on top of all of that, they give you the podiums for all 4 of the majors, which is really helpful because you can see, for 2019, so you can see who won all of the majors in the past year going into this new year, starting with Euros, and it's super exciting. There was huge drama last year at Euros, just really awesome stories coming out of it. I believe that was the one where
Euros is coming up. We're I want to say
a couple weeks
20 days away or so from the black belt starting at Euros.
Right. So last year was the year that Levi Jones-Leary upset Lucas Lepre and basically made his name. Jones-Leary
at the black belt level.
Yeah, but coming out and dethroning Lucas Lepre to win the first of the majors is fucking stellar, and
in impressive fashion too.
So there was a bunch of really awesome stories that came out of that. So it's awesome to look forward to it. The previews are great. And then speaking of Euros, we saw also on FloGrappling Mikey Musumeci has entered Roosterweight.
That was kind of concerning to me.
Yeah.
Yes, I was like, Roosterweight. Wait a second. Isn't that the division at Worlds that he had to shave all his hair off and barely made it and looked like death both days weighing in?
Yes.
Same division. Yes.
Yeah,
in
same
fact.
division, and same division that he had had to pull out of another one of the majors because he couldn't make it.
Was it Euro? What was it? Was it
It
Euros?
might have been Euros. I
Pans?
can't remember
I know
which
he
one it
probably
was.
literally offhand, I forgot what he pulled out of.
Yeah.
But that's concerning. Like, dude, go up a division. Go up to where you were.
Yeah,
You're super good still.
But he and Bruno are in the same division.
Is Bruno registered?
Yeah, dude.
Oh,
you didn't see that?
No.
Oh, that's why I wanted to talk
Oh,
about it,
snap,
homie.
I missed. He's registered.
Oh, Bruno's
There was
registered,
big
dude.
speculation that, so if you don't know the storyline, Bruno Malfacine, historic champion forever at Roosterweight, like 10-time world champion, 11-time world champion at Roosterweight. I should know that offhand. Mikey Musumeci was the champion at the weight class above. Michael Musumeci is under Kyotera. Kyotera and Bruno Malfacine has gone back and forth for years at Roosterweight. Mikey went down this last year at Worlds and competed against Bruno in the semifinals, beat Bruno in a really close match. Bruno refused to shake his hand. They're cool with it now, but like they've had some back and forth beef. Bruno announced that he was going to retire after that Worlds, and that was his last Worlds, but now he's back.
Yeah.
And he's probably going to fight Mikey again.
Yeah, probably. If they both compete, yeah, absolutely.
That's crazy. I didn't know that. What do you think about
dude.
that?
I mean, that's a heavy weight cut for Mikey. Maybe he's gotten but I doubt it. All of last year he had trouble making it to Roosterweight. So.
Yeah.
That's brutal, but we'll see. Maybe he does want to defend.
I'm super happy about that matchup, though. Like, I'm not happy about the weight cut for Mikey, but that was an amazing matchup. Like, that was one of the highest level matchups we got to see last year.
Honestly, it looks like now I'm looking at light feather. So
Light feather is the Cicero Costa show, right? Or is that featherweight?
It is.
Yeah.
But that being said, it seems like almost like Mikey's in there to face Bruno, because I don't know why
Why he wouldn't do light feather?
Avoid light feather, yeah, because I'm pretty sure he could. I mean, Hugo George is really, he's fucking incredible.
I think he's beat Iago before.
Yeah, he has, but I don't know. I honestly have no idea.
It's really interesting. I didn't know they were both in it. Okay, so that's big news for Euros. Again, we're kind of previewing Euros now.
Yeah, we are. But okay, so I mean, it's worth mentioning some of the big names that have already entered their names into the divisions.
Okay.
So at featherweight we have Isaac Doderlin and Johnny Grippo. It's fucking stacked. It looks like there's maybe 30 people or so already registered.
That's always a big division.
Yeah, Joao Gabriel. Yeah, so it definitely looks stacked already.
I looked up flights to Euros this week, and I was like, I'm going to forego that right now. The cheapest I can get is like $758 from Dulles to Lisbon. And I was like, I'm good right now.
Well, dude, speaking of, actually, we can preview Euros closer to Euros, but speaking of flights, Maine and I also just booked last minute, literally right before recording.
So I'm trying to get out to the Aaron Hurley seminar at Baltimore BJJ, which happens at 7. We're recording this on Monday evening. And it's in a couple hours. So I was like, okay, Emil, let's get in right at 5:30. Start the recording the show. And then Emil was like, let me look at flights for Kasai. And we were looking, and the flights were $94.78 direct from Baltimore to Dallas. And I was
round trip, yeah.
Well, let's hold off for a second. Let's start the show a little late and let's book these flights. And so we both booked flights, a round trip to Dallas for Kasai for under $100. And I was like, this is perfect. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'm fucking pumped.
Some great. I'm hoping to get some really good interviews down there. There's a bunch of people in the heavyweight bracket, even like in some of the super fights, that should be just amazing to talk to.
Yeah.
And I've got I'm like starting to plan out questions already for like what I want to ask, what I want to like ask them about in 2020, and like some of the things I did last year. So I am really excited to do some really great interviews at Kasai.
Hell yeah.
So we got our flights now, and like it's gonna be awesome. I'm super excited for that. That card looks better and better. They have announced all the names for the heavyweight division for that. We'll preview that probably in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
We'll do a full preview for that. I think we're probably going to get an article written as well for that on the website that we're redoing as well right now. So look for a new website for the Grappling Rewind in the next 2 weeks, hopefully.
Yeah.
I didn't lose our domain name like I did 2 years ago.
Sweet.
Anymore, so that was good. Let's see what else we got. Let's honestly, mostly it's just huge matchups. Like we kind of got over the break, and then this week has just been giant matchup after giant matchup after giant matchup being announced. We have Keenan versus Roberto Jimenez announced for who is number one for for FloGrappling.
Right.
That is a tough matchup for Roberto.
Yeah, I see. I mean, Keenan is.
I assume it's in the gi.
Yeah.
It is in the gi.
Oh no, I'm just assuming it is.
I'm assuming it's in the gi. We've seen Roberto in both, but I think we've seen Keenan more recently really do more gi. He had to pull out of ADCC due to having the eye infection, EKC. I think this is a tough one for Roberto. This is I think one of his first matches at black belt actually.
Yeah.
He just got black belt 2 weeks ago after No-Gi Worlds.
Yeah. I think Keenan is the heavy favorite in this one.
I think it's IBJJF rule set too. And
yeah.
Keenan really.
But speaking of which, so this event, Who's Number One, also features Nicholas Marigali versus Victor Hugo. Victor Hugo has just been announced on another major matchup at Fight to Win 135 in Sacramento in January 18th. Victor Hugo is going against Nicky Rodriguez.
It's an exciting matchup.
And that's a no-gi match, obviously.
So it's interesting. We just saw Hugo face Cyborg at No-Gi Worlds, lost in weight. In absolute, he knee bars Cyborg. Wow, I kind of my brain skipped a second there. Knee bars Cyborg.
Kneeborgs Cyborg.
I can't do it right now. I'm really tired. In the finals of the absolute, and we saw Nick Rodriguez have some trouble with Keenan Duarte at Fight to Win in Philly with the heel hooks. It'll be interesting to see if Hugo decides to path to the legs in a similar way to Duarte, or now I talked to Jay Regalbuto, who was previously Nicky Rodriguez's coach. Nicky Rodriguez is now full-time at Potenzos. He is there, living there full-time. So I bet his leg lock defense and leg lock offense shoots up really, really quickly, being in that room constantly full-time now. It'll be really interesting to see if they potentially we'll see Rodriguez deal with that less. But that's a really interesting matchup, I think, for that reason particularly, because we have this nice little triangle of guys now. It's Cyborg's face Rodriguez, Hugo's face Cyborg. I'm excited.
Yeah, that should be really good. In other news, were there other matchups you wanted to talk about?
No, there's a couple of them, Najmi versus Burns. Gilbert Burns versus Edwin Najmi has been rebooked for Third Coast. Burns got sick last time at the Third Coast and was replaced, but now Third Coast has rebooked that matchup, and I'm actually really excited for that matchup. I think, assuming it's in the gi again, but I'm super happy that got re-announced. We put up a poll on Instagram for what people were looking for matches in 2020. We got some really good results. I had a great time going through all our photo collections and finding
those were
photos.
Really awesome, yeah.
Dude, there was some really good. Some was couldn't put up there. There was a great one. It was me and you,
yeah.
And then I put that in our team chat, and it was how did that go? And I was I don't know how that would go anymore because we haven't rolled against each other in probably
a year and a half or so.
Probably something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Josh offered to referee that, which would be fucking mayhem.
That would be hilarious. And I put up a picture of my broken spine with the matchup there. That's basically every pre-show we do is just a match between both of us.
Yeah.
I want to talk about this. I want to talk about this. It's okay, we're not going to talk about it. Let's see what else we have. I think, Benson Henderson versus Marcelo Andre has got announced for an upcoming Fight to Win. I think 135, 136. I think I forget exactly which one. And Cub Swanson is out for 9 months.
Yeah.
After getting his knee exploded by Jake Shields and by squaring up in a position that
huge reap. Yep.
he should have rolled.
Yes.
That sucks to hear.
Yeah.
But it's pretty 9 months is you blow out everything in your knee. It's about 9 months.
Yeah.
So it sucks to see him at that stage of his career be kind of confirmed as being out for that long.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. So we're gonna move into the preview section. You got anything else for news?
That's it.
All right, let's move into the preview section. So moving into the preview section, Fight to Win 134 taking place on January 10th in Scottsdale, Arizona. This one is main evented by 170-pound black belt no-gi bout. I thought it was a gi bout. No-gi bout between Benson Henderson and Marcelo Andre. Remember that thing 15 seconds ago when I was talking about this matchup being announced for 34 or 36 and not reading through the notes for the next segment? That's the thing that just happened.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be a contested match. I mean, Marcelo Andre took silver at the championship, versus Mateus Gabriel. So he's pretty fucking good.
Yes, former world champion.
Yeah.
Really, really good. Again, it's a no-gi match. We've seen Benson Henderson in Fight to Win struggle a little bit in the gi, but in no gi, he's super dynamic. We've seen him, I think, compete on Polaris versus AJ, where he double-legged AJ off the stage to everyone's delight. This is a really tough one. I think this is I think Marcio used to be under 66 at ADCC, though, so I assume Benson is significantly larger than him.
Yeah.
But I think when I interviewed Keith Krikorian last week, and I'm still working on editing that. He talked about Marcio basically being one of the biggest dudes at under 66 like he's ever seen. That he's huge. So it'll be an interesting matchup. I'm curious to see what Benson's pathway to victory is. I think it's going to be really hard for him to sub Marcio, but we've seen him be really dynamic off his back, but we've typically seen him kind of flourish in MMA scrambles more so than like straight up jiu-jitsu scrambles. Typically the guys at the higher level can like slow him down to a way, and I think Marcio is a guy that's really probably going to slow him down, probably put him on his back and probably like pass. I'm not sure if we'll see a submission. Benson's been notoriously hard to submit, but we did see him get submitted by Wagner at Polaris recently, so it's like I could see a submission here, but I think Wagner's much more of a submission threat than Marcio, but still Marcio's up at that upper echelon level guy. It would not surprise me to see a submission, maybe by something like an arm triangle or an arm bar here.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are your thoughts?
No, I mean, I kind of, you nailed it. Benson is not someone that I see getting submitted easily.
Right, but Marcio is just so good.
And Marcio, I'm looking at it now. He was in Fight to Win's 99, 118, and 126. He's won 2 by referee's decision, lost 1 by referee's decision. So, I'm anticipating this will go to a decision as well.
Yeah,
so.
it wouldn't surprise me. Again, sub would not surprise me for Marcio, and like a submission would not surprise me either. Co-main event for this one is a banger, 125-pound black belt gi title match between Karen Atudez and Talita Alencar.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome.
This is a rematch, though, isn't it? I think
I feel like it is, but I can't think off the top of my head where I've seen that before. But
I really like Talita comes out super aggressive and tends to like maintain that pace throughout the halfway mark of the match and then coasts a little bit. And I'm interested to see, because we've seen Karen kind of consistently like push a pace throughout the entirety of a match. So I'm interested to see like how she deals with Talita. Are you looking up to see if they fought each other before?
Yep. And I cannot find any information on them.
Thanks, BJJ Heroes.
Yep.
So I'm super excited about that. That's a really good match. I think does Atudez have the title currently, or does Alencar have the title? I know
you are the guy who remembers all of the.
I know Alencar previously has had the title,
right.
And I saw Alencar defend the title. She fought to 153. I'm blanking on the names. I've seen Talita Alencar fight a number of times. She usually fights in title matches. I do not recall if she has the 25 title or not.
Right.
Next match, I am all over the place.
205-pound Masters gi title match. John Cabai versus Thiago Jimenez. 200-pound black belt gi match. Jake Watson versus Arnaldo Maidana.
Jake Watson, I think we've seen him at black a bunch. He previously held the Fight to Win brown belt title. I think defended it once or twice and then moved up to the black belt. And he struggled a little bit, but he's been like super dynamic. We've seen him compete on both the IBJJF circuit as well as like a lot in Fight to Win. So this is a really good matchup that deserves to be high up on the card.
225-pound black belt gi match. Josh Guerra versus Stephen Hall. 210-pound black belt gi match. Charlie Swanton versus Mike Berlaka. 195-pound black belt no gi match. Javier Torres versus Tim Welsh. 190-pound black belt gi match. Andrew Gardenier versus Jose Munoz. 185-pound black belt gi match. Daniel Hampton versus Carlos Souza. 175-pound black belt no gi match. Alex Martinez versus Doug Moore. 170-pound black belt gi match. Victor Emmanuel versus Dom Hoskins.
So now with Troy Everett,
Dom is probably taking over.
Not being a full member of Team Sleep, kind of traveling constantly, I'm interested to see how many Fight to Wins Dom has to be on before Dom surpasses Troy in most Fight to Win experiences. I think both of them are above 20.
Oh, they were both,
I think Troy was like 19 or 21, and I think Dom was like right there with like 18 or 20. So
170-pound black belt gi match. Brenda Barbosa versus Nivian Oliveira. 170-pound black belt no gi match. Aaron Wilson versus Joe Murphy. 155-pound black belt gi match. Evan Gongoria versus Matthew Mamelin. 155-pound black belt gi match, Josh Rodriguez versus Gabriel Revoredo. 150-pound black belt gi match, Jonathan Van Buren versus Joao Pedro Soyero. 140-pound black belt gi match, Gerson Atagu versus Ron Henderson.
Looking forward to that match. Really like watching Gerson compete.
Heavyweight no-gi match, Michael Cashman versus Joel Velasquez.
So we're into the brown belts now. Dude, that's a giant stacked card for the black belts. Like, I love when Fight to Win goes on like a little bit of a break, because that next card when they come off a break is always just full of giant black belts. Like, this is a really heavy black belt card, so this will be a lot of fun. We're finally getting off of our big break of events and into some Fight to Wins again. Bring us back to kind of normalcy for event coverage. We also have a teen no-gi bantamweight title between Bryce Smith and Joseph Cruz, and we have a bunch of other matches. This looks like a really fun card.
Yep.
Like probably 15 black belt matches at least. So the main card's going to be crazy, a bunch of title fights. I am looking forward to this again. Back on the routine with Fight to Win. Starts at 7 p.m. Scottsdale, Arizona time, which is sometime not in Scottsdale, Arizona. It's going to be a late start, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Arizona. Oh no, Arizona can be 3 hours.
Because they give the FU to daylight savings time.
Yeah.
So I think we're in standard time right now.
I don't fucking know, man.
Standard time is the terrible one that everyone hates. I think that's what we're in now. We want to go to daylight savings time, which Arizona doesn't do. So I think we're both on the same time zone right now.
We fucked either way.
Pretty much. So that does it for our preview of Fight to Win 134. On to the next one. So, quick aside before we get to the Jay Regalbuto interview, we are really trying to grow the Grappling Rewind in 2020 to be able to put out more, better content, cooler content, and
new media too.
Yes, we're revamping the website. We're really making a big push to put more resources into being able to make better content. We're doing that with a couple other things in the background. I'm producing some other things, doing more fighter interviews to go up on the YouTube page. You can help us out the most by literally just sharing this show with the folks at your gym. Like, there's a link in pretty much all the podcast apps you have. It just has little 3 dots on the iPhone app. You press it, and you just press share. And if you put that into like either a group chat or into like your gym's like group page or wherever you can do that, that is the biggest way that helps us grow the show, and really appreciate that.
Yeah, if there's a YouTube interview that you really enjoy, share that with your teammates. If there is commentary that you've seen us make, we post clips on Instagram as well. Those are easy ways to share, to show people kind of what we do and how we do it. And again, your support grows our footprint and allows us to go to events and
it allows us to do cooler stuff and produce more content for the jiu-jitsu community, and we really love doing that. So if you like the show, we would really appreciate you to share it out to other people that may also like the show, because that is really a huge goal for us for 2020. So thank you, as always, for listening. Let's get into the Jay Regalbuto interview, and it is a really great interview. I'm really excited for you guys to hear it. All right, we are here with Jay Regalbuto. Jay, you are Nicky Rod's coach as well as one of the best commentators in jiu-jitsu. Wanted to have you on this week on the show to talk about some of your commentary and a little bit of your coaching. So first of all, it's great to have you on the show. Who exactly do you commentate for? I know you do commentary for a bunch of different jiu-jitsu promotions. What are the ones you do?
So first, thank you for having me on the show, man. Big fan of the show. So it's cool to be on. Man, I started commentary, I want to say in 2013 with a company called the PGL and Professional Grappling League. A lot of the stars from today, not a lot, but some of the stars from today, Gordon Ryan, Eddie Cummings, Gary Tonin, made their way through that organization early on when they were still color belts. But right now I do Fight to Win when they're in the Philly, Maryland area. When they were in Jersey, I did their Jersey show. I've done the New York show, Connecticut show. I've done Boston. So Fight to Win, I've done more than anything. I want to say I've done 18 or so Fight to Wins. I do the finishers events, finisher sub only, awesome EBI style event. They're going on their 11th, and I've done 8 of the first 10. So I did like 2 through 7. I wasn't able to do 8, and then I did 9 and 10. I also do Men of War, which is a local one here in Jersey. Unfortunately, like the last 2 shows, the one was on the same day as ADCC, And the other one that they just did, I was in Disney on vacation, so I missed the last 2 shows. But I normally do their jiu-jitsu commentary or their submission grappling commentary for Men of War, and then they're also a sister company for Dead Serious MMA, which is amateur MMA, which I do there. And I've done a ton of their shows as well. Grappling Idiots, a new one, Matt Kaplan's new show. I just got done doing that one. That was a great show. So the last 2 ADCC East Coast trials too, I was able to do the commentary for that, which was really, really amazing. First year was cool. The second one, this past one, was even better on the East Coast. And I've done other ones that. Radius, Grappling Industries, Good Fight used to have super fights. I used to do that for them.
Yeah,
UGA
Josh, one of the co-hosts on the show, did one of the Good Fights back in the day.
I commentated, I want to say that animal, because those rules were a little different, even in the gi. And I think I remember calling a match where he heel hooked somebody from a standing position in the gi.
That is correct.
Inside heel hook.
Yep.
And I was like, man, this is just savage down here.
Yep. That's one of Josh's like big wins was that gi heel hook. And so whenever like my students bring up like, oh, you can't heel hook unless it's certain pro events, then you can't heel hook in the gi. One of my guys that we work with has done it, and
there can't be many left.
I don't know of any promotion that we cover on the show that does heel hooks in the gi. I can't think of a single one.
That's just brutal. You can get the control can just be too tight, and there's nothing you can do.
I'm not against it, but it's like we've really moved away from that in a big way in the past. Really, like I think 6 years, guys have really started to go. The heel hook entries have gotten just too good, and once you get someone in there, the friction with the gi pants, you're just not going to. So I don't think there's any promotion we've covered.
Imagine some of these guys were able to do it with gi pants on. Nobody would get out.
So you do a ton of commentary. So how do you prepare? Since you do a kind of a pretty large variety of both MMA and jiu-jitsu commentary, how do you prepare for that when you're going to do a card?
So it depends on what the card is. So for like a fight to win, he usually gives a good Seth and Missy really put together a great card every time they're in this area too. Like Philly, Maryland, like dude, they're always getting like ridiculous cards.
Yeah, we get kind of spoiled with those cards.
Oh, dude, we really are. We really are. So when I'm doing stuff like that, like I really do research with watching matches. I like going to like sites like BJJ Heroes and seeing, if they had any similar opponents, just win-loss, their, submission rates, what they're finishing people with. And then I always like to go back and watch video on the guys. I don't get too much into it when too much research down into the lower end. A lot of times I don't have to because they keep me kind of in the area. Not kind of. They keep me in the area I live in. Man, I know a ton of these, blue belt, purple belt grapplers, brown belt grapplers already just from going to the Nagas, Grappling Industries, like just going to tournaments
just
to
being
coach.
In the community itself.
I'm seeing these people so much. I'm seeing them multiple times on Fight to Win. You know what I mean? So those lower belts, I get to kind of see through my own just going to tournaments and stuff. Like for something like finishers where I have a tournament or something like Grappling Idiots where there's a tournament involved. I like to send out like a message or what do you call it? Instagram message or a Facebook message to the athletes, and just to see who they're training with, what they're what they represent. I always try to find some video footage or anything I can on everybody in the tournament, just to kind of see what the matchups are going to be. Just because there's people on the East Coast that the West Coast people don't know about. There's people on the West Coast that the East Coast. Finishers was a big one, like Alan Sanchez, right? Like we had all these heavy hitters coming in here. We had Evan Levy, we had Stanley Rosa. We had some monsters from the East Coast. Mike Carpenter, even from Michigan. Like everybody knows Carpenter, and all the 10th Planet people were like Alan Sanchez, Alan Sanchez, Alan Sanchez. And when I looked the dude up, man, ended up he medaled at brown belt. He won worlds this year.
Yep. But
he medaled last year too. I'm thinking like, man, here's a sleeper that if you don't look him up and research him, my goodness, imagine going and going against an Alan Sanchez and having no prep or idea who this kid was. So I definitely like to see what I can video wise and get a bit of information from them through messaging when I do tournaments, because when it's tournaments, and you have somebody that's moving through from round to round to round, you kind of like to have a bit of a background on them for that. And then regular super matches, honestly, unless it's like a big brown belt match or a big black belt match, for the undercards of stuff, mostly it's just by what I know about the individual. But I do put a decent amount of prep time into every show, and I like my own paperwork, my own organization, and stuff like that. I like to have my own stuff in front of me.
So, kind of shifting gears, so I would really appreciate all the information about the commentary. We've done commentary on the show a couple times, and it's always cool to hear from the guys that do it a lot and we think are really, really good at it, how they do it. That is really cool. So, kind of talking about shifts, you watch a lot of jiu-jitsu, you watch a lot of tape. You were at ADCC coaching Nicky Rod here for 2019. I'll ask you about that in a minute. But what do you think, or what do you see as some of the shifts in the meta moving into 2020? What are we seeing that's different than in previous years, and where is the sport going?
I think it's going to get aggressive, and I like it. I think the pace is going to be picked up. I think you got a lot of young guys. I'll specify by no gi is what I'm mainly talking about. As far as gi goes, man, I mean, you have to work yourself through the ranks. There's nothing you can do. Stylistically, you're not going to see this. A Nick Rodriguez or anything like that. Ed Root's a good example, right? I mean, it's not like Ed Root can compete against black belts right now. He has to work his way through the belt system if he wants to see black belts. It's just how it is. No-gi, what I think you're going to see change in no-gi is an influx of more athletic people, not even necessarily just wrestlers, but athletic people who are focusing more on winning than they, you know what I mean, and not so much entering things as a hobbyist, but entering it as an athlete looking to win. So you're going to get aggression. I think you're going to see, I think that jiu-jitsu is going to get more exciting, because I think you're going to see this pace get picked up to where matches are much more active. I will tell you what I think what BJJ Fanatics is doing is fantastic for the entire community, because when, before BJJ Fanatics, we had books, we had, stuff on YouTube for sure that people had free content out. But if you wanted to figure out what Gordon was doing, you had to just watch all his matches. You had to watch and try to figure out what he was doing. And you're never going to get the intricacies, especially if you watch their DVDs, or if you've like I've had Gordon down 3 times, looking to have him down a bunch more times once he's back in Jersey. Once you're seeing how these people are executing these techniques so efficiently, well, now I can take an athlete who may not be a brown belt, may not have been training for 5-6 years, and I could take an athlete who's good enough at getting up from a bottom position and teach him how to pass with efficiency and with technique, and teach them how to get the back with efficiency and with technique, from using systems like John Danaher's and Gordon's of getting there. So I think you're going to see these people evolving at an incredible rate. I think by this next ADCC East Coast Trials and West Coast Trials is going to be insane this year. In the one in Jersey in November, and then California in February. Man, well, I don't think they announced. They
usually do it at the same time every cycle.
I think that you are going to see an influx of not black belts. I think you're going to see like an influx of blue and purple and brown belt athletes that are coming in, and they're going to be using the listen, to be able to see what like Lachlan Giles did, you know what I mean, with taking out these giants with his leg attacks, man. You know how many kids went and bought that DVD and are practicing them leg locks over and over and over and over again, man, and probably terrorizing the people at their gym. I think that this shift is going to be good, and I think that it's these athletes that are at the top of the game that are sharing all their knowledge with everybody, and coaches like John Danaher that are sharing their knowledge with everybody. Man, that's going to really, really evolve this sport, man, and I think it's going to happen quickly.
So
I think Nogi is going to keep getting more exciting.
So speaking of excitement, what are the matches that you find the most exciting to commentate on?
Okay, so and again, I love no gi, but I do not want to leave gi out. Okay, especially in like fight to win, I love purple belts and brown belts in the gi. I just think that they're out there to prove. I just think they're out there to prove something from that belt, that they deserve that promotion. They deserve that next belt. They just, I don't know. I find the purple and brown belt gi match is very, very exciting. Again, it always seems like they're more looking for the finish. It's funny. I say that, and as a coach, I really focus more on control and slowing the pace down than anything. But as a commentator and a fan, I like that. I like to see that action and that movement. As far as no-gi goes, I'll tell you, I love leg lockers. I love when I see a leg locker that's going to go into a 16-man bracket and nobody's going to know what hit them. I don't know. I really enjoy. I enjoy watching a leg locker rip through people, and I enjoy watching two leg lockers have an intricate defensive battle. Again, I watch like a ton of jiu-jitsu. Like I've commentated over 3,000 matches, and that's not even what I've sat and watched in tournaments, you know what I mean, and stuff like that, just going and watching. So I watch people win all the time. And to me, I just love that chess match of two good leg lockers trying to, you know what I mean, trying to win. Gary and Paul Harris, that was like, that was so fun to watch.
So what's your favorite match that you've ever, because it's kind of putting you on the spot here, your favorite match that you've ever done commentary for?
All right.
Point to one.
So, favorite match I ever did commentary for. I'm not sure if you were there, but were you there for Padilla Wilson Hayes?
Yeah, I was.
In Philly?
Yeah, I was there.
That was the most exciting match. Now, there was some background to that. Pete Shoemaker, close friend and teammate of Mike Padilla, was supposed to go against Wilson Hayes in that tournament, and he had a very close friend and teammate pass away, and he wasn't able to compete. And Padilla, who was also a friend of the gentleman who passed away, hopped in. I'm talking 2 days notice and taking on Wilson Hayes. Like, you're taking on Wilson Hayes. It's not like you're just jumping in and going against anybody. And if you know Mike Padilla, East Coast guy out here, he's been on EBI too.
He's been on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
He's been on Gamblers, EBI, Zapatero. Yeah.
He's exciting as it is, but man, he just brought bad intentions that night. Those attacks were just from everywhere. It ended up being a split decision victory, I believe, for Padilla.
Yeah, that was great.
But I think it was up for FloGrappling's match of the year too. No-gi
we had
match
it on
of the
ours
year.
For 2018. We had it on ours, and that match ended with Wilson Hayes. And Padilla was in an arm triangle, and Padilla lifts his hand up at the last and goes like this as the match expires. And that was an outstanding match. Being there live, it was pretty electric.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I also got to do the commentary for when Grappling Industries did the super match with Keenan and Gordon.
Yeah.
Hour and a half. I actually was the one holding the cell phone and commentating for that match. 90 minutes. I'll tell you what, it didn't feel like 90 minutes.
No.
It was, they were constantly moving, constantly attacking. I'll tell you what was cool is to be that close, like holding the phone and walking around. They had to keep bringing like charger cords up to the phone to try to get it from dying because the match was going so long. But hearing Danaher coach him, through that entire thing up to the very submission, it was cool. Danaher started telling him, hey, now his leg's starting to get long. And I said, man, Danaher's saying how Keenan's leg is now starting to, put itself in a bad position. Like he's just allowing it to extend too much. And then, man, almost as soon as he said that, Gordon got the finish. That one was big for me. That was a fun one too. I got to call Munch and Gary. Yep. Gary Tonin and Munch when it was their first one. That was a while ago. I was at a UGA. That was a fun one. Man. Wagner Hocha and JT Torres in Philly. I mean, dude, we got spoils us in Philly, man.
Yeah. The Philly and Baltimore cards are always really, really good for fight to win.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the funnest one.
So talking about
to commentate a couple few people too. I got to commentate with Jeff Glover at a fight to win too, which was pretty cool.
That's awesome. So kind of shifting gears, we're talking about Danaher's coaching, talking about your coaching. You coached Nicky Rodriguez here at ADCC 2019 and through his trials runs, and there's a really cool little bit with you and me during the Flow Films thing, the Black Belt Slayer for Nicky Rodriguez, and I thought it was about a 10-second clip, but it's about a minute of us talking back and forth backstage, and you didn't tell me you were mic'd up for that, so I'm always worried about what happened and what I said to you that day. And we talked about your game plan going in with Nick Rodriguez for his match. I think it was the match with Cyborg. It might have been the match with Duarte. And you said, the game plan's always the same. So moving into 2020, you're still coaching Nick. What are your plans for 2020 with Nick and some of your other athletes?
So Nick is up in New York full time now.
He finally made the full time move.
He did. He moved up. He lives up in North Jersey now, so he's up there permanently. Well, at least right now, permanently with the squad, which is where he needed to be. And just so from when I met him, right? Because listen, he is different. You know what I mean? He's not like everybody else. He's a very, very special athlete. And it's crazy that from, literally a few weeks in that we said that there's this thing that you got to do, and it's ADCC. And he shifted his focus. He believed what I said. He understood that what I was telling him, was for real, and that I really did, know that he could do this. He's just the weight class, his athleticism, his speed, his wrestling, like everything just really fell together. And when he took that focus, and I knew he would, I knew he would do whatever it was. I had said to him, I said, now listen, there's nobody in South Jersey that could house him. Nobody that could say, just come to my room and you will not need to leave here. We could teach you everything you need to know. We have plenty of training partners here. There's not many schools around that can do that. There's Atos, there's, obviously Renzo Gracie in New York, Marcelo Garcia's, but as far as many schools, like you can't have an athlete like that and have no other athletes to that caliber around to help. So very early on, I had told him, I had said, man, I don't know how, but I need to get you up to New York. And there's two guys up there, John Danaher and Gordon Ryan. One's the best coach in the world. One's the best grappler in the world. And when I get you there, one of two things is going to happen. They're either going to hate you and tell you to get out because you're competition, or they're going to love you. And that's my goal. If I can only take him so far. There's only so much I could do with my knowledge and, what I have to work with. So my goal was always to get him up there.
We talked about that. I want to say at Finishers, we had a long conversation after you got off the mic there about basically what his timeline was to go up to New York. And you were still working on it even back, I think, Finishers 10 or 9.
It was always the plan. It was always the plan to get him into that room, because that basement, if you are a special athlete like that, not even like that. I mean, you don't even have to be that. As long as you can be in a room where you're training with Gordon, with Craig, with Keenan, with, you know what I mean? Not to mention all the other guys that are in the room, Nicky Ryan, Gary Town, and Ethan Crowns.
All the guys that dropped through.
Here's coming in to visit. The wrestlers, the people that they don't even compete that they have in that room, under the instruction of, the best no-gi coach in the world, to not try to have your athlete get put in a position where that's the room that they're training in is selfish as a coach. Even the guys that I coach now, I tell them my goal isn't to have you be, something, be under me for the rest. Nah, man, you know what? I kind of look at myself like a high school coach that's trying to get them off to college, but I got one specific college in mind that I'm trying to push them off to, because I see what happens from, the results that happen from coming out of that room. So even with the guys I'm working with now, man, and I'm bringing a crew to ADCC East Coast Trials, and we're looking to come away with a bunch of gold medals from there. And it's all their focus is on ADCC. Honestly, we work the same systems that they do up there. I study a ton of what they do. And that's so when I say I coach Nick, for sure, I was the one that was getting him going, getting all that. But understand that dude drove countless miles all over South Jersey, PA, up to New York to just find rooms to train until he got up there. It was just after ADCC East Coast Trials that he really started to be able to go up there, 2, 3, 4 times a week. And then after after ADCC, he was able to make his permanent residence up there. Now, don't get me wrong. I still talk to him all the time. I help him book his matches.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Help him with all his sponsors, all that stuff. But understand that that's a lot of what you're going to see in his evolution now is just the work of him and Danaher.
That's awesome.
And I'm cool with saying that. I'm absolutely,
awesome.
I would say that.
I remember talking about Nicky probably more than a year ago at this point, and talking to him, and he was great. And he'd always talk to Jay. Hey, what you got coming up next? Talk to Jay. And he's like, Jay gives me like the date and the flight, and then I get on a plane. Yeah, that was always a really interesting relationship to hear. Yeah,
it's really no different, man. The opponent never matters. It's just, we got to make sure the pay is right, and we got to get them out there. That's it.
Awesome.
But I don't even remember what was the original question.
It was just basically what was the plan for 2020. I didn't know Nick had made the move up yet, and so I didn't know if that was where in the cards that was.
He's up there full time now, and so he's got coming up. So he's got Fight to Win, Sacramento. He's got Victor Hugo.
Yep.
And he has something else in the beginning of February. It's not booked yet, so it's not like contract signed yet, so I can't talk about it.
Right.
Then he's got Kasai, bro. That Kasai Texas tournament.
Yeah, I'm looking at flights. I'm looking at flights now to see if we can make it down.
Boy, Cyborg. Now Victor Hugo isn't in that one yet, is he? I'm wondering if he.
You're putting me on the spot, Jay. I don't remember who's in what card. We cover like 3 to 4 events a weekend. It all blends together after a couple years.
And then after that Kasai tournament, he has Third Coast Grappling with Pat Downey.
Yep.
In a hybrid rule set, more similar to the Gordon Bell. I don't think it's going to be. It might not be exactly like that, but similar to that.
Yeah, they were talking about modifying the rules again for that one, just to give him something a little bit different.
Yeah.
So, hey, it's been awesome to have you on the show. Any other kind of closing thoughts for, again, this is going to come out first week into 2020, but any sort of closing thoughts for 2019?
Man, I'll tell you what, for me, it was thanks to the athletes that, allowed me to, to help them out. It was the best jiu-jitsu year for me in my life. I mean, listen, to start the year with the East Coast or the West Coast trials and have Nick and Amanda both win.
I forgot to ask you about Amanda. What's she doing coming up? She's fighting MMA.
Right. So she broke her wrist.
Oh.
She had to get surgery. She's still got probably a good 3 months before she can really start doing anything. But then, she's going hard focusing MMA. Don't get me wrong. If the pay is right and the competition is correct, she'll still do grappling matches. But man, she's just too skilled of a fighter to not.
Yeah, I love watching that armbar entry she hits there.
It's her money. You got to see all our kids though. She's got 6
her gym's kicking off now too as well.
And then I help out Danielle Kelly too with her booking and stuff like that. And she's got a big one coming up at Third Coast as well with Toledo Allen Bar.
Yeah, we're excited for that one as well.
Yeah, she's been on a freaking tear lately, just killing people. But 2019, man, starting it off with the West Coast trials was amazing, man. And then he went on that undefeated streak. Nick did, but going around the country, just destroying people. And man, the commentary that I got to do in between that, end of the year with ADCC, in September. And it was just a great year for me, man. Great year for me. And listen, I say great year for me as a fan. Like, as a fan, dude, I got to do so many things, and I can't thank, like the athletes, again, that let me tag along enough and let me, sit in their corner, to sit in that chair. Like, for me, that was bucket list. I'm done. You could kick me out of the sport. I'm good. I had a lot of fun this year, but it's cool, man. And this sport's filled with so many good people. Not many people get to talk to the promoters, the people behind ADCC, the people behind Flow. Some people give them crap for whatever reason, but I'll tell you, man, they're hardworking people, dude, and they are constantly working to put on shows. And I can't thank those guys enough for like working with me this year and allowing me to be a part of some shows, to take our athletes on some shows. Dude, 2019 was fun, man. 2020 and 2021 are going to be even better.
Looking forward to it. All right, Jay. Hey, really appreciate it. Thank you very much for your time. It's a great interview.
You man, Maine.
So that pretty much does it for this week's show. We now have our flights booked for Kasai. Emil was specifically trying not to travel as much in 2020 because you were getting burned out. And then I was like, hey, do you want to go to Kasai in a couple weeks? I was like, flights are like $115. And then Emil was like, let me look it up. And then saw that flights were $95. And he was like, I mean, I'll go. Yeah.
That's the thing. It's gotten so easy to travel, and like,
for
the most part, I'm traveling for great stuff. Like, being able to go to ADCC was huge. Being able to go to Philly for a Fight to Win was huge.
Dude, the crazy thing is now I realized, like, in Baltimore, in the area that we live in, we are about an hour and 20 minutes or so away from Philadelphia. We are 35 to 40 minutes away from BWI. We are like an hour-ish or an hour and a half away from like Dulles and like those. We're a couple hours from New York. It's like we realistically, it's actually annoying because I have to look at flights. I have to look at like 6 different airports to see like what is the most reasonable flight and reasonable time I can get. But we get stuff like that where it's like, cool, I can fly halfway across the country to go for a weekend trip to cover a super cool event for $100.
I don't think I could get a train ticket round trip to New York City from Baltimore for $95.
You're close, I think. I want to say they're like, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's really cool. I'm super excited about that. That flight is, I realize my goal for, my personal goal for jiu-jitsu for 2020 is to visit 20 different gyms that are not affiliated with like my network of gyms that we go to, that I teach at.
Right.
And it was also for the show to like go do more on-site interviews and go do more event coverage live. And I'm looking at flights. I'm like, oh, this is super feasible to do. And I'm trying not to book myself more than like once or twice a month to go on these trips. And it's the best problem I could ever imagine to have.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is a really cool card. All right, might want to fly to Miami to do it. Might want to fly to Texas or Dallas, or it's like California flights are still... I got to really prepare for those flights. That's like an extra 2 hours on a plane with my back that you got to be a big event in California for me to go to California. Also, those flights aren't quite as cheap. So that's been a little better, like, to push me away from those events. But when's the next thing you're going on? Where you flying out to next?
I'll be in Cali the week before, basically, I think. Yeah.
Oh, we're in Cali.
I'm going out to Bay Area. So like
nice. I've never been to San Francisco.
My travel's already booking up, so.
Yeah.
But
you trained out there for a while, didn't you?
What's up?
You trained down in there for a while, didn't you?
I was out there for a summer.
Okay.
So not like an extended period of time, but when I was a white belt, yeah, I was out there training. So
sweet.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So anything else planned for the week?
That's it, man. It's gonna be chill,
dude. I'm ramping up for Euros hard already. I'm already trying to get all the resources together for Euros.
Yeah.
We're actually we're gonna bring a guy, Zach, on to do the Euros show. So he's Zach Broderick. He's a black belt that I train with, and super like. If he, comes on, he will be hands down like the smartest dude I've dealt with. Maybe actually no, you're actually really smart as well. I always forget that you're like a doctor.
Yeah,
he is also a doctor.
Sweet.
So it'll be super cool. Yeah, so we're gearing up for that for Euros. Euros looks amazing. Anything else?
That's it.
All right. As always in the show, I'm your host, Maine. Joined with my co-host,
Emil.
And we got the Grappling Rewind. We'll see you on the mats. If you like the show, please consider sharing it on Facebook with the folks at your gym. It's the best way that we grow the show, and we really appreciate it. You can reach out to us on email.
We also have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have Google+.
Until that shuts down.
We have a website.
If you have an event you would like to have us cover, please let us know. If you have a name, like most people do, and you'd like to have us stop butchering it,
let us know.
Reach out to us. The show is also available on YouTube, Spotify, in addition to iTunes and every other podcast service. We very much appreciate your time, and thank you.